I keep seeing videos being put out online. This is an example of one right here from my mate Paz. The UK is at boiling point, and there are many others online which are doing similar. Britain is finished. Britain has reached fever pitch, and various other titles like that. It of course refers to what's going on in Epping right now, and where we've had other incidents of public unrest. I'm not going to call it disorder, it's unrest, and there's a reason for it which I'll come into in a little while. And it all builds up to a picture that this country's going down the toilet faster than a dodgy curry on a Friday night. You know, it's not a good situation. And I sit back and I watch and I think, is this deliberate or is this sheer incompetence? You know, I've said it again in the past, where if any of these bozos that were in charge of this country, those in Parliament, by the way, those ones that we elect, were in a business, they'd be fired for gross misconduct, gross incompetence. I would certainly fire them. None of them would be anywhere near my setup, I tell you. Yet they run the country. Or do they? You have a look at everything that's going on. You look at the political parties, the political makeup for starts. Let's begin with that. We've had from 1978, year I was born, up till 1997, we had the Conservatives. I'm going back recent memory. Obviously the rot goes back further than that, but I'm only keeping it to the last 45-50 years. Then we had Labour from 1997 till 2010. Then we had the hung Parliament, where Cameron and Clegg told us they're acting in the interests of the country. Well, what we did, we sent a very clear signal. We were pissed off with it. Then we had the Tories again. Look what happened there. They ate themselves alive, really, and now we're stuck with Keir Starmer and this Labour government, which are tearing the place to pieces. Then we have the advent of other parties. Reform, is the most popular example, and it's all part of that same engine. And if you really analyse all of their policies, particularly the two big ones, Conservatives and Labour, you couldn't stick a fag paper in between them. People have no choice. They're all the same. When people feel they have no choice, they then have no hope. And when you vote for a party in your masses because you thought the other one did a piss poor job, and then you find out that they're just as bad, if not worse, then you completely lose all hope and think, well, what's the point in voting anymore? What's the point in doing anything about any of this? It's not going to make the blindest bit of difference. If you're a pensioner, you have your winter fuel payment taken away. If you're disabled, there's questions about your PIP. If you're an armed forces veteran who needs a home, other people are prioritised over you. Former military bases are requisitioned to process illegal entries into this country where they could be used for other things like our defence. The police, you don't see them on the streets anymore walking the beat, and when the police are involved it's usually hurty words. It's a little bit like a police state. You can't say what you think without fear of reprisals. Trying to get an appointment on the NHS. And then we have this recent thing where we've had this injunction, this super injunction, where nobody can talk about anything to do with all the Afghanistani individuals which have been imported in this country on the back of a secret deal which has been hushed up. Now, the problem I have with super injunctions, there's such a thing as parliamentary privilege. They should have been able to talk about it. They should have been able to say anything they like in that place without fear of reproach, yet they were silenced, they were muzzled. Were they in on it? And all of a sudden you import thousands of individuals, some of which have questionable backgrounds, putting us at risk. And all of this just leads to public anger. All of this leads to public discontent, and eventually it's going to boil over. It's going to spill out into the streets, and you'll get some of the trouble that you're seeing now. Now, I'm not in any way inciting anything. I just pointing out the obvious and looking at what's happening from a semi-objective point of view. Now, going back to something I said at the beginning, is this real incompetence or is this deliberate? You know, we have no choice of party. Many people are going towards reform because that's the only hope they see that they have. All of our public services are wrecked beyond measure and being put under increasing strain. There's no police. The NHS is a disaster waiting to happen, and I could go on. And meanwhile, the populace are getting more and more pissed off. Now, we all know things, or the majority of people that watch this channel know things about 2030 and resets and all that sort of thing. Now, I saw a document, a paper, about 3 years ago now, which was sent to me by email, which details all of this plan step by step. And one of the things was encourage public disorder. Look what's happening right now. So are we playing into their hands by doing what we're doing out on the streets? I can't blame anybody for acting on their impulses, but is it helping? Is there a more constructive way of dealing with this, or have we really reached the point of no return? Because when they encourage disorder, you then get a situation where if it gets to a point it is out of control, bosh, everything's gone. Freedoms, liberties, the ability to choose what you do, where you go, who you see, how you do things, it's all gone. And then we end up in that world that we all dread is coming down the pipe. So I do wonder if we are really at the encourage disorder side of things. And if we are, and this is playing out, we're playing into their hands. Is there another way? Unfortunately now, I don't know. I really genuinely, for the first time in a long time, don't know. And currently, you're seeing the country tear itself to pieces. It's a very scary proposition, isn't it? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're seeing anything in your area, let me know. Please hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Have a look at this video I did before this one about my thoughts on news that came out yesterday. Keep watching, and as always, I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.